Holy moly, I am so excited that we are back. Season 4. We are here recording live in Rockefeller Center in Newsstand Studios. How iconic is that? How New York City is that? It doesn't get any better. And I'll tell you what, New York City is buzzing right now because it is Tony season. We are mere days away from the big night. And we all grew up watching the Tonys. We have all been affected by the Tonys. And I'm really excited to have 3 current 2024 Tony nominees gathered here together to talk about the experience of being just that, a Tony nominee. It's pretty dreamy stuff. So let's say hello, shall we? The trifecta is here. It has arrived, and I couldn't be more excited to be talking with 2024 Tony nominees. Roger Bart is here, which just saying Roger Bart is such an exciting thing to be able to do because I'm such a huge
It's all the
fan.
R's, isn't it?
It's
kind of
it's
just
Roger
exciting.
Bart.
It feels so good
If I
in the
was
mouth.
British, it would be Roger Bart.
Roger Bart.
Yeah, is that how they say it when they talk about you overseas?
I worked in Israel many years ago,
Okay.
and I was making fun of their odd couple, all in Hebrew. And she said, "At least that my name isn't Roar."
Roger Bart.
That's all they can come up with. Roar.
It feels like a real slam, and yet I don't even fully understand it. But I feel like it packs a punch. I'm so happy to have you here, Roger. It is
Thanks.
it's a very dreamy thing. I get very excited about the people that I was a theater geek growing up in Orem, Utah, and was consuming cast albums like crazy. And when I get to meet the people whose names I've known for a while and looked up to, it's very exciting. So
I'm glad that I did mostly the first nationals of those albums that you
Absolutely.
listened to, but I still take it as a kind of
that's how intense I was. So I have
Yeah,
bootlegs of
thanks.
all of those.
Yes, bootlegs.
Yeah, bootlegs used to be bad. Now we're all doing them.
Right.
My Zubaru Eden Espinosa is here. Hi, Zubaru. Congratulations on your Tony nomination.
Thank you, my friend.
For Lempicka,
Thank
Tamara
you.
de Lempicka. We've called each other Zubaru for a very long time.
Yes.
And that's
Over 20
in
years.
reference, do you guys remember there was a show on children's television
Called Jubilee Zoo.
called Jubilee Zoo?
And when Ben Vereen joined the cast of Wicked, Ben Cameron and I geeked out over the fact that we both knew and loved this show called Jubilee Zoo. And Ben Vereen was Mayor Ben. He was the lion. And it was a musical show, and they were animals in a zoo. Jubilee Zoo, Jubilee Zoo.
Wait,
Yeah.
I have to get to catch up though.
Yes.
Wasn't there another show about a critter that was jumped all over a guy and it was like Zoom de la Zuli?
Zaboomafoo?
Yes!
Zaboomafoo.
I literally thought you just made
Ben
that up.
Vereen also was on that, weirdly.
No.
He
So-
was, no, he was
No,
not.
he wasn't.
Ben Vereen will do a lot of things, but not Zaboomafoo. We have to draw the line
We draw the
somewhere.
line at Jubilee Zoo.
But he was Mayor Ben, and we thought that was very exciting.
Yes.
Also of note, when you do a show with Ben Vereen, it's important to know that on his opening night, he will provide you with a lollipop with his face on it as an opening night gift. Do you recall that, Eden?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was fun. I ate mine. Also, we have
I'm mildly traumatized by that.
by that fun fact.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. I'm back.
Is it about the lollipop or what I did to it?
Both.
Heyo.
Both. All of
Ba-dum-bum.
the above. I'm so in awe right now because I just saw Hell's Kitchen on Broadway last night and took in a performance that I think people will be talking about and that will resonate with me and for a very, very, very long time. Kecia Lewis is here. Thank you for being here and congratulations.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
It's fun to get everybody together.
Yeah.
I know you guys have been running around doing a lot of press together, but this feels like a fun moment to just
Yeah.
kind of maybe unpack a little bit about what you're all currently going through.
Yeah.
And what we'll refer to as the gauntlet
I brought some suitcases.
of Tony nomination. All right, before we get into kind of the current season, I like to do this because I am such a huge, crazy nerd for not only theater, but for all of you. I'm just going to geek out and let the people know some things that I really like about you that they should be aware of and follow. Roger, may I geek out about you to begin?
Geek away. Let me just preface your geekdom
Please do.
by saying something since we're on the subject of Ben Vereen.
Yes, please.
That
Absolutely.
my daughter's name is Eller Vereen Bart. And that her mom was named Shel Vereen. and she was related to Ben. She's a cousin of Ben's.
Oh
So,
my
so my
gosh.
daughter actually carries his surname.
Oh, how crazy!
Wow.
I love
Okay,
that
so that's
story.
just why. So you know that I'm so affectionate when I right. Yeah, yeah.
So what I want to talk about for just a couple of seconds is the
By the way, the extent of my career, right there.
the sheer
Couple of seconds.
no way,
No way.
no way, no way.
All right, go ahead.
The sheer range of it all, and we know you as the voice of Hercules and so many amazing Broadway credits. But I want to make sure that everybody has tuned in to see Roger star in Hostel 2. Which is the Hostel movies are some of the most violent, crazy horror films in creation. They make Saw look like a sandbox. And Roger Bart, you're watching it in the middle of the day, and you're like, I just like a horror movie in the middle of the day. And the next thing you know, Roger Bart comes blasting through the door in a big rubber apron and a chainsaw because he's been cutting people up in the other room. And it is magical as a theater person to see Roger Stewart. Was Stewart your name? Stewart, yeah. And I think Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, lost his confidence a little bit.
He became a non-member.
Of the Bulldog?
Something like
It
that.
was something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have memory of? You have to
I
watch
do.
this
I
movie.
mean, it's fantastic. I had
Yeah.
a great time. It's not, this is a real big spoiler alert for a lot of people who really can't wait to see that movie. But I do get castrated, which is pretty amazing.
Whoa.
And it was, it was so deeply funny. If I recommend it to any man, if you want to watch yourself being castrated and with prosthetics, of course, but
God,
very,
I hope so.
very funny, deeply,
Really?
deeply funny. But I think that the low point came when I had to stand off camera and take the apparatus, we'll call it, in my hand and throw it to these 3 giant German shepherds who ate it really alarmingly fast.
Yeah.
That was really kind of both the high and low point of the movie. It was pretty amazing. It was really funny.
Not only the movie, I would imagine, of life.
Yeah, like it was pretty fantastic. But we had a great time. I mean, I didn't realize it would be so funny to make a movie like that. Not that we didn't take it seriously, but it was gross and funny.
I'm interested in that, in what the tone of the actors are in a film like that is so violent.
They refer to the many of the kind of worst things that you imagine, the cutting and the shooting and the slicing and the dicing, as gags. So already you know that it has the same levity is brought to those things that we conversely bring to doing comedy now, where we use words about go kill them, go slay them, which is actually very violent. So
Oh
it's,
my
it's
gosh,
quite the opposite.
interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about
Wow.
Yeah. And probably will never again. But
Wow.
The more, I think there's more than a few things that will haunt you.
I think
after this interview,
I've
Kecia.
been traumatized for the last
yeah,
10 minutes.
yeah. I'm so glad
speechless.
that this is what we spent time on
Absolutely.
my
Yeah,
career.
This is what
It's
the people
exciting.
want
But
to
it
hear.
has really changed and opened up a whole world for me.
Yes.
I mean, talk about the range. It's
It really has. I went in for all different kinds of roles after that.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to geek out about you, Eden Espinosa, and everyone knows you and loves you from obviously Lempicka and also a long run as Elphaba in Wicked. But I just need to make sure that everybody is fully aware, and you can watch all the videos you want, of Brooklyn and the Once Upon a Time song a moment. I remember we all got to come see you
Yes.
do the show
That's right.
and
That
support
was very
you.
special.
And it was
Because it was our
outrageously
gypsy run or
amazing.
something, or it was an ad. Broadway Cares. There was
It was
something.
an
that-
actors fund,
Yeah, Actors
like
Fund, that's
some
what
of
it
they'll
was.
add a performance for the actors fund. I think
Yeah,
it
that's
was
what it
that,
was.
which you've got to hope that your people are in the audience when you have to do an extra show.
For sure.
Yeah,
For
if
sure.
you don't have that.
Yeah, that was special.
But everybody needs to go watch, learn, be dazzled, and I have to say this on this platform. I've said it in live shows with you before, but I remember with Eden being at Broadway bowling one night, and we had gotten to see Eden in rehearsal for Wicked, and we all know the range is epic and legendary. And I remember just looking at her, and I was probably a few drinks in, big surprise, and said, "Okay, Eden, where does it top out? Where does the voice top out?" And you looked at me and went so without ire and just went, "Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't.
I don't really
I don't
know.
know
It
the
just kind of
answer."
keeps going up. It doesn't end." It doesn't end.
Well, over 20 years later, I can tell you it does.
I've seen,
It does now, okay?
I've seen your work, Rafaela. I know.
Oh my gosh.
So check out Brooklyn, my friends, and be changed forever. And Miss
We're
Kecia
good.
Lewis, my geek out for you is so last night at the show, you end the first act with this incredible number, and it's an incredible song. And my boyfriend that I was with was leaning forward in his seat so far that he was nearly in the row in front of him. And as soon as you took all the oxygen out of the room in such a special way, it was so transcendent. And the ended of the act, and the lights came up in the house, and people began to move about. The stupid people, the rest of us who had ears, were sitting in stunned silence and reverence of the moment. And he became so irate with all of the dingbats sitting around us because he believed so firmly. He was looking around with a wild look in his eyes that everybody needed to sit as we were in silence and process the moment that we just experienced with you. And he became outwardly enraged. And I want you to know that if I end up hurt or something, it's because he's still mad at the people in the theater who looked at Instagram. But he talked about it the whole way home. It was very fun, but I'm just blown away by your performance.
Thank him.
So-
That's wonderful. Thank you.
That is my geeking out.
Where was your boyfriend for the Hostel premiere? That's what
No
one stood in silence.
Where's Hostel the musical? Not that. Where's
it's
Hostel
coming.
2?
It's coming.
The
It's coming.
musical.
2, yeah.
I think they did a Saw musical
Yeah.
at some point, which is wacky and wild to me. So outside of this, I know that there are some interesting intersections in this room, in this beautiful newsstand studio. We're so excited, by the way, to be here at Rockefeller Center recording the top of our 4th season. We're in Rockefeller Center in a newsstand. It's so cool. Roger wants to bake things here with us.
I do, yeah.
But he wants to bake tarts.
Tarts.
Tots. Rar wants to bake
Rar
tarts.
wants to make tarts.
Rar wants to bake tarts.
We'll call rar tarts.
I just want to see, we all get so connected in what we all lovingly refer to as our community. And I want to know outside of this season where your lives or careers have crossed before. And I think the answer for you two, Kecia and Roger, is Big River.
Big River. Mm-hmm.
Oh, look out for me.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. 20 years
Beautiful.
later, my voice is low enough to sing Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big River.
Yep.
That's
amazing.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Michael Greif, the director of Hell's Kitchen, was Des McAnuff's, the director of Big River's, assistant.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the first time I met Michael Greif as well.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And I think we've benefited from some Michael Greif in our lives.
We have.
Yeah.
Throughout. How about you two? Has there been crossover in your?
There
this
hasn't.
kind of-
I will say the first time I ever heard this man's name is because I did a regional production of Triumph of Love.
Oh, wow.
And so I, listened to the cast recording, and that's the first time. But before that, because I was a Disney girl and worked at Disney forever, I knew who he was from Hercules. But then I was like, but that was my first introduction. So I was like, the voice of Hercules is doing this like Broadway show, Triumph of Love. So I was listening to the cast album, and then obviously from then on, I was just a fan. But we actually met in person just recently, and the other day at the Tony nominee luncheon. Or press day, the press day, when I was like, I'm such a fan. And Kecia and I met, obviously the resume, we all know the legend.
We've crossed all
But-
these paths.
Yeah, we got to know each other because I was a part of Hell's Kitchen in development for about 3 years, and then we did a reading together, and before we all went our different ways. But that's how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
But
we
I
spent
mean,
a
the
lot
name,
of
obviously,
time
we know the name.
sitting in rehearsal.
That's right.
Sometimes texting. Sometimes just looking at each other
Yes,
across the
yes.
room.
Yeah. The reading was it was a choreography workshop that they brought actors in to so we did a lot of sitting around.
Okay.
But yeah.
And sending texts like.
Yes. And are they going to use us yet?
Girl.
How much longer are we going to sit here?
No. Lots of that.
Yeah. And then the shorthand developed where we could just look at each other from across the room and know which one of those we meant.
A side eye is worth 1,000 texts.
That's right.
I think, isn't that how the ancient adage goes?
That's right.
All right. I want to ask you quickly, Roger. Out of your illustrious career, favorite roles you've played outside of Doc Brown? I'm assuming is a favorite.
I loved playing Vice Principal Nero in a series of unfortunate events for Netflix. That was super fun. I loved playing the really, really ambitious understudy in Grace and Frankie, whose name was. I covered Martin Sheen, and I just happened to know the words, and it was very, very funny to do.
It was amazing to watch. It was
so
amazing.
Funny. Love that stuff. I loved playing Carmen Gia. It was so silly and crazy because I loved working with Gary and Matthew and Nathan and I yeah, those are my top. There's other ones that have so many of them are fun things. There's a little thing about each of them that you just adore and adore the experience. But the really theatrical ones are really the great. The ones where you get to be sort of broad and silly, and I love that stuff. It's so fun.
Yeah. And Stewart, of course, I'm assuming, is in there. Stewart.
We laughed a lot during Stewart. But it was only when he said to me, he takes a bump of cocaine, the guy sitting with me, we're on our way to kill the girls.
This is back in Hostel.
He says to me, yeah.
Okay.
He says, he goes, yeah. He says, hey, Stu, you think what we're doing is sick or wrong, I think. And my line was, no. And we couldn't get through it because each time I'd be like, no. Anyway, enough of that. Yeah,
That's
Hostel.
amazing.
Yeah, it was really funny. We laughed
Hostel
a lot.
2. I'm
Yeah,
here
Hostel
for
2.
it.
That's
It's
the one. It's
I'm here
Hostel
for it.
2.
Yeah.
It's 2.
Top 3 roles.
Top
Eden.
3. Well, I've only ever had 3, so no, I'm just kidding. That's hard. I mean, Elphaba, obviously. I spent the most time with her, 7 years on and off. So she's definitely at the top. I think also Tamara, because it's the biggest labor of love that I've had, of spending the most time investing in something and believing in it. But to execute it was not my favorite. It cost me a lot. Like, I realized when the run is over, I'm like, oh, I don't have acid reflux. Oh, I'm sleeping through the night. Oh, I don't have anxiety. Oh, wow, that show was bringing me a lot of stress. But doing it was rewarding, but it cost me a lot. And then the third one, can I choose a voiceover role?
I wish you would.
I think it would be Cassandra on Tangled the series. Yeah. I mean, I loved being a part of that and being with that character and bringing her to life and making Alan Menken an EGOT winner with one of my songs, and so many things.
Wild.
Yeah,
what a wild thing to be able to
Yeah.
say. Do you have a very specific Disney side fan base from that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Who literally they'll come to see me in things because of my role in that show. It's wild.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is very different, kids.
Yes.
This is very different.
It's great.
Miss Kecia, what are the 3 roles that outside of maybe what you're playing now, Miss Liza Jane?
I did an off-Broadway musical called Marie and Rosetta at the Atlantic, and playing Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who a lot of people don't know who she is, but she is considered the godmother of rock and roll. She was a gospel singer in the 30s and 40s, but she shredded
Electric
guitar.
Yeah.
And you see footage of her sometimes. You'll see her at a railroad station. It was a big concert in London that she did. People have seen that footage and go, who is that woman? It was Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And I did that. It was a 2-hander with Rebecca Naomi Jones.
Wow.
And we had the best time. It was great. It was a great show. Another top one is I did this one season of a TV series called The Passage on Fox, where I played an ex-nun, ex-military guns expert, and I killed vampires and quoted scriptures over them.
Oh my gosh.
It was everything.
Hostel.
That
What?
it sounds like
Yeah.
everything.
That sounds much more fun.
That's so wild.
It was so much fun. And I came back home, and some of the men in my life were like, you did pretty good with those guns. Yeah.
You're like, so you will get in line now,
Yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
That's how this is going to go from here on out.
Absolutely. And probably the third one, I think, would be Effie in Dreamgirls, because that was my first. And then I got to do it later when I always say my first act when I was a kid was great in Dreamgirls. My second act, I was like grasping. And then when I got older and I had lived through some of what Effie goes through in the second act, I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun by then.
Well, you were 18
Yeah.
when you did Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
What a crazy thing to begin your career in. Something so earth-shatteringly iconic.
It was nuts. It was kind of like being out of my body a lot of the time, because a lot of the original cast was still there, and I'd been listening to that album, for a couple of years before I got cast. So it was pretty thrilling. And I made lifelong friends that, 40 years later. This year is my 40th year in the business.
I saw that in your bio.
Yeah, next
Your
week.
playbill. Yeah.
Next week or a week and a half. June 15th was the first day I walked into the Imperial Theater.
Wow. That's so cool.
Wild.
1984. My God.
What's a role that you would love to take on that you haven't?
Oh, me.
To whoever.
That's
Jump in there.
Any role. I mean, I always want to do the men. I want to do George Seurat. I want to do Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
I want to do George Washington.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's call up Lynn.
Yes.
I would love to do Fosca and Passion.
Oh.
Diana next to Normal.
Mm.
Those are just a few.
That's it's an amuse-bouche.
Yeah.
of the roles that we'll look forward to. Rah-rah?
Rah-rah.
Rah-rah?
I'd like to play. Who's the name of the Speaker of the House right now? It's Mike Johnson. Is that his name?
Oh, I thought you were about to say
The
Mitch
musical?
McConnell.
I know.
No,
I was
no,
like,
like-
did you see my face? I was
We
like,
all-
well,
our
no.
face, we were like, what?
No,
Roger
no.
Bart is Mitch McConnell.
No. I'd love. I mean, I'd love to do something political. Would be because I'm passionate about it. It'd be fun to do something political. But I don't really have sort of favorite roles. I always feel a little bit like I just get lucky to get hired. So I don't really. I don't know.
That is a preposterous way to look at it, Roger
I know,
Bart.
it really is, but I really don't have anything.
I'm just happy to be invited.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A River Runs Through It, the musical. I think it'd be great.
Oh.
Okay.
We're speaking it into existence.
Absolutely.
We're manifesting. And Kecia, what's a role that you haven't done yet that you'd like to dive into?
I would like to do, there's a couple. I want to do The Witch in Into the Woods.
ooh, you would
Please
be
do.
amazing.
I would love to do The Witch. I was saying a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to be in Gypsy, but now I don't know.
You know who,
She's coming back,
baby.
which is going to be fabulous and wonderful. But now I'm just like, why bother, Kecia? Go sit down. Just go sit down. And I think I want to do a horror something, like a comedy horror something. I've always been afraid of it because I kind of grew up with a bit of a religious background. So it's always been kind of off limits, and you don't do that, and, don't even look at that, don't read that. But I find the genre very funny, just in general when it's not supposed to be. Yeah. I don't know what that is in me. I just look at the stuff and I'm like howling, laughing. Yeah. So I think I'd like to do something like that.
I feel a collaboration coming on for.
Yes.
I think that's the next step. Is the three of you cast in Hostel 2, the musical, Electric Boogaloo. Hostel 2.
I get
With Rar.
Starring Rah as Stuart.
Stuart.
All right.
Is wrong. Stuart?
Now that we've gotten there, we do like to play games here on the Broadway cast. And with your permission today, we are going to play a game, and it's going to be a little Tony trivia. So let's do that, shall we?
Oh, Lord.
Hit it! Oh, the game is simple, my friends. The game is easy to play, but I want you to play like your life depends on it and beat each other out. I'm going to name a Broadway musical. The first person who can ring in, there are no bells, so good luck with that. We'll use our improv skills. Will get the opportunity to answer. If you name a Tony winner from that musical, you will get the point. And whoever has the most points at the end
Is there a prize?
wins big. Yeah, but I can't tell you what it
Okay,
is.
great, because I'm only playing if there's a prize.
Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, so get in there. Here we go. Phantom of the Opera.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes?
Is it Michael Crawford?
It is Michael Crawford. You've done it right. And I think ding, ding, ding is the way to go. Absolutely.
But with the
If-
question mark at the end?
Yeah,
Right,
ding, ding,
right.
ding, ding, ding. Ragtime,
Ding, ding, ding.
Keisha.
Audra McDonald.
That's correct. Soon to be Gypsy. The Cabaret Revival, not the current one.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes,
Audra McDonald.
that's correct.
We
all-
can say her for everything. It would probably be right.
Well, she's the first person who played the MC
Alan
and
Cumming.
Sally simultaneously.
time.
Yeah, Alan Cumming.
And
that
if
one.
anybody could.
Got that one, yeah.
All right, that's -1 point.
No, he
for
got
Ro-
it.
Alan Cumming.
Oh, Alan Cumming. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah, well done. All
It
right.
was at the tip of my tongue.
Jelly's Last Jam.
Ding, ding, ding. Gregory Hines.
That's correct. Hello, Dolly. Any production?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Carol Channing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Carol Channing, 60 something? Dear Evan Hansen.
Ding, ding, ding.
Eden.
Ben Platt.
That's correct. Rent.
Ding, ding, ding. Wilson Germain Heredia.
That's correct. All right, now listen. Eden,
I'm really
you're
competitive, as
you're
you can
you're,
see.
you're
I
to win
love
this. La Cage aux Folles, original production.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Renee Auberjonois. No.
No.
Boo.
Although now I'm wondering if maybe he was in that and did win.
What's the name?
Was
That's
he
not who I
ever?
had
Ding,
down.
ding.
Yes.
Is
Did
it
he
George
ever-
Hearn?
It's George Hearn.
Wow.
George
Eden.
Hearn.
You better get it.
Well, George Hearn was in the Wicked production
Yes,
too.
that's,
George Hearn was
that's
in there.
why I knew that.
Evita.
Ding, ding, ding. Patty J.
Lupone.
Lupone.
Patty J. Lupone.
Patty J. Lupone is correct.
Correct.
People don't know this. I'm actually might change my equity name to Patty Lupone.
Because she gave up
Yeah.
her pretty card.
Yeah.
He's gonna change his name.
I
to
have.
Patty
I've
J.
already done it.
Lupone.
He's already put it in.
Yeah. It's Doc Brown.
Oh my God. Patty Lupone is Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Dead.
Well, then you've locked up this Tony Award right then and
Oh, yeah.
there.
It's there.
Right
There
there.
it is.
What a delight.
Mame. Mame.
Angela Lansbury. I was just about to say it.
Angela Lansbury.
That's okay.
All right, just a couple more. Ain't Misbehavin'.
Ding, ding, ding. Nell Carter.
And why did you say it like that?
Because I was her cover
Oh, we
in the
have
revival.
stories.
And there
We
are
don't
stories.
have time. We don't
Okay.
have time.
That's
Oh
a
my
whole
gosh.
episode.
Oh,
Oh, but I wish we had the time.
I hear that.
Funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Nathan?
That's right.
Oh,
Think about Nathan Lane. Dreamgirls.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Ben Harney.
Ben Harney. I didn't have that down. Tell me about Ben Harney.
Ben Harney won Best Actor in a Musical.
All right.
He's
see?
one of my mentors. We're still friends and talk.
Now, see, this is the thing. Now we're learning because I just was an idiot and wrote down Jennifer Holiday and called
yeah.
it a day.
Clevon Derrick's one too.
Yeah,
That's
Cleavon
right.
Derrick's one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, Pippin.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding.
Ben
Ben
Vereen.
Vereen.
Yeah, you bet. Absolutely.
Nice.
Shouldn't know
Oh, well
that.
done.
I was going to
Zuber-
say
Mayor Ben.
Mayor Ben.
That's
Mayor
Mayor
Ben.
Ben.
Did you win for
Huh?
that, Andrea?
She did.
Yeah.
Andrea
Yes,
Martin did win.
yes.
Absolutely. Well done, everybody. That Eden got 9,000 points.
9,000, 29,000,
9,600
9,000
points. And with that, you win
Pellegrino.
this blue, San Pellegrino, brought to you
2
by
bottles.
Pellegrino. I want you to have that on her. Okay, great. Let's start at the very beginning. About
Very good place
this.
to start.
It's a very good place to start. I just want to talk about the impact of hearing your name called and knowing that you're nominated for a Tony. I'll start with Kecia. This is your first Tony nomination in an illustrious career. It feels so correct. What was this something you maybe thought would happen? Is this does it have a very special meaning to you?
It was just a thought could happen, not would, but could. But I felt that about other shows, so I was cautiously optimistic.
Okay,
You know what I mean? But one of our stage managers decided to do a Tony nomination watch party. So we all, not all of us, but the vast majority of the cast got up early and we got on a Zoom and we were together
Oh, that's sweet.
as they were happening. And I think probably by the 3rd or 4th nomination, I was bawling. So when they said my name, I had to cover my face because the ugly cry was so ugly. It was so ugly. But it was really special.
And it's cool that you were able to share that with your company.
Yes, we were all
Yeah.
together. It was amazing.
I'm imagining you weren't the only one in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Eden.
Now you're gonna get to us over here.
Uh,
No, we're making jokes.
Yeah.
I was at some of my best friends' house, one of which was in the show with me, and yeah, we turned on the TV because we thought the news one was just like going to be a recap, so it was like 8:31 maybe. We turned it on, and then my name and my face was on the screen, and like immediately started getting texts, and I was like, oh, they're not. I didn't know what the news thing was at 8:30. I thought it started at 9, and we were just like, let's put it on. So, yeah, I just like squealed, and my first text that came in was Rachel Chavkin, and like people just kept texting me, and I was just squealing, and and then as you go on, you're hoping for the rest of your creatives and other people. I was thrilled for Amber, and sad that other people didn't get recognized, but some people have talked to me. Do you have like survivor's guilt type thing that nobody else? And I was like, actually, I don't. I feel that I wouldn't have gotten the recognition without our director, without our composer, without our writer, without the work that they have put in over the years and the work they put in for this iteration. So, of course, and it was bittersweet, but also just something that I'm so proud of, and will always be a Tony nominee, honey.
That's your name now for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And Roger, we have a Tony at home from Charlie Brown in 1999.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What feels different or
My lower back.
your lower back? Absolutely. Absolutely.
When they said "rar rar rar,"
Hilarious.
Is there a feeling?
what feels different?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I was young and stupid, and in 1999, and now I'm older and just a tiny bit less stupid, and I feel like that it's been 25 years, and the enormous sort of gratitude and humility at being able to still be on acting on Broadway and to be recognized in this way was sort of, it was so amazing, and I think as an older person, it just feels even somehow better because you realize so many years and a few shows that I didn't hear anything, and that was fine, and then I really echo Eden's sentiment, which is that it was just I think myself and the design that was nominated for a show, and we have we had a lot of people work really hard, and a lot of people were really sort of deserving as everybody on Broadway, and I just always find awards to be odd in a way.
Yeah.
I love them, and it's great, and I think Bob Gale, who wrote Back to the Future, said awards are great if you're nominated, and they just they don't really matter much of anything if you're not. And it's kind of like that. I find that sometimes I'm no better than, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just we're all so lucky. And having gone through the pandemic, and I remember the day that they said, turns out singing is the big spreader of it, and I thought, oh my God, really?
Right, great for us.
It just after that, and then writers' strikes and things that are, just part of the landscape of the last few years. It just all seems a miracle that any of us are on Broadway, and that we've convinced the masses to come and get back to normal and get in a theater where people, God knows, they cough during our show. I don't know about yours, but
Yes.
it's just a miracle. All of it's a miracle. So I'm just happy to be one of the people representing Back to the Future, and it's because it's with all these things, there's a lot of work and a lot of risk and a lot of hours, and it just feels so nice.
Yeah. And to that point, when you've taken a show from development and a role in particular, and that gets recognized in this very, very shiny way, is there a greater payoff to that than maybe something that you've been attached to Lempicka, for example, for
11 years.
11 years.
Yep.
11 years. I know that you.
I
were
put
in
myself on
London.
tape in 2015.
That's
So
wild.
that's
to
9,
me.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were in development with.
I was in development, I think, 2021.
Mhm.
So it was fairly newer for me.
Yeah, it's a
Still a
long,
long-
it's a long
Mhm.
road. How do you feel that? What is that payoff of having put so much time and work into something? It's so personal. at
Yeah,
that
it
point.
feels great. It's equally, and again, it's the high highs and the low lows. It's equally as heartbreaking to be like, we only got a month. You know what I mean? So it's like, and to work, everybody working towards something, but it's still the fact that we got there is the win.
Right.
But yeah, it's also, you hope something is recognized for, I think one time I was super tired in rehearsal and I was like, I really hope I get nominated for this role because it's just so big. Like, and that the size of it alone, I was like, I hope that this is at least a consideration. And then, on the other side, I know in my heart if I hadn't gotten recognized, I would have been bummed for a little bit, but I know what my work was in that show. I know what I put into it. I know what I did every night. And so it is a really strange dichotomy of all the feelings and like definitely feeling all of them. But yeah, I think it's something of like, yeah, it feels good to have that little tip of the hat, for sure.
Yeah. And so 2015, you put yourself on.
Yeah, for
Roger.
2015, 2018, we got to work. And, I got to say, the thing about what people don't know, I mean, like, I think they just assume, we have this crazy thing called a life outside of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that part.
And, people look at the work we do and, we try to make the best lines possible and we try to fix the blocking here and we work hard every night. But really, the friendships forged. I lost my brother in 2017 and he was I just love him and miss him every single day. And I was put in a room with 4 or 5 guys who all were parts of my brother. They were similar age. They all they answered different parts of what I was missing suddenly in my life. And the fact that we went through what we went through for all those years working on it, and I got to be so close with them. So to be recognized that there's something at the end of all of it. When I got COVID, I didn't get COVID the entire time, but I got COVID opening night in London, It was just some crazy stuff happened. But, I think that the life outside of the show and the fact that my heart is so full from some of these friendships, it really the Tony is wonderful, but really that experience was of making friends with them and having them in my life now is everything. So this is just the wonderful sweet cherry on top of a lot of friendships forged and a lot of trusts and a lot of true collaboration. Collaboration is everything. It's to be in a room with people who are not afraid to take chances, not afraid to voice their opinions, and who my favorite kind of creative team and creative space is one where we go, let's try this, and everyone says, let's try it, and then it doesn't work, and then the person who says it goes, you're right, it didn't work. What's next? Let's try something else. That to me is the most stimulating, the most fun, and the most rewarding.
That's the play.
Yeah, right.
That's the play in the play.
Yep.
Kecia, what do you think constitutes kind of generally a character that warrants this kind of elevated recognition?
I always feel like with the various characters that I see in theater, no matter what the piece is, no matter what it's about, if people can find themselves in somebody, in one of these characters or one of these situations, I feel like we've done our job. I feel like I look at what I do as giving people the opportunity to let go of their life for 2.5 hours and enter another world. And when people are able to see themselves or some aspect of themselves or some person who meant something to them on a stage, I think that's like the highest level of service. And I feel really privileged to be a part of that for people. I get choked up when people after the show, there was this one woman I'm thinking of in particular who was just crying and said, I'm a teacher. I teach 3rd grade. Thank you. Thank you for seeing what we do. Thank you for put it up there. And I saw how important it was in that character's eyes that I forget about with my own kids, you know, because they can't really articulate yet how much I mean to them.
Sure.
You know, I can feel it, but they can't articulate it. And I just was so full. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I do it for. I want people to be able to see themselves. Growing up, I couldn't always see myself.
Yeah.
You know, there weren't a lot of roles for kids who looked like me. You know, and when they came around, I was just in awe that I could connect to something like that. Yeah. And to now be one of those people that other kids can connect to, it means everything.
Yeah. I want to know, for each of you, these are really bold characters that you play. What are the aspects of you as a human person that you feel are attributed to your character? How are you similar, let's say, to Eden, to Tamara de Lempicka?
Oof. To be honest, I had to step into a lot of what Tamara is. There are aspects of her that over the years I maybe judged a tiny bit silently inside of like, oof, I would never do that. Or, you know, but you don't know until you're in a certain situation, in a scenario. So I think her resilience, her ability to walk into things and go, where do I need to go? How do I need to do it? This is what I'm going to do. But I feel like this iteration at this time in my life, this woman was calling me to take up space in a way that I have never before, to really unapologetically advocate for myself, go after what I wanted, not shrink when I walked into a room or walked into a space. And that is not always easy for me to do. So I feel like I have a new level of comfort in my skin because of her. So I feel like, the humanity that I brought to the harshness of who she is and people thinking she's hard, she equally gave to me steel. Yeah.
What about you, Roger?
Oh, Lordy.
Very similar characters, too.
Similar.
Here, Tamara and Doc Brown.
Great, Scott.
How's Doc steeled you?
Doc. You know, the things that I love about Doc are his resiliency and that I kind of feel like for anybody who does what we do and has had to deal with so much of not getting things and not having things go their way, and there's something about a character that tries and fails a lot and continues just for the passion of and the virtue in passionate attempts that I really like about Doc. You know, he'll say many things like, you mean it works? I finally invent something that works. And I think that really is a lot about like what my life has been like. You know, there's just lots of swings and misses and good tries, and I love doing it. I love trying, and I love the friendship between he and I think mentorism is something that's kind of broken down in our culture, and I don't exactly want to spend time trying to guess what it is about it that has broken down culturally for us. But I do like the fact that you can be a great friend with somebody younger, and which is sort of so wonderful about working with Kecia Lewis is that, you know, he's a good kid. You know, we laugh a lot, and he could be like my son. My daughter's 16 years older than he is, you know, so he easily could be my son that I never had, and I love that part of that that process, and I think and about Doc, and I just love the insecurity battles are fascinating. It's interesting to have a character that learns he's going to achieve something great and still manages to worry about screwing it up. Because anything you do in the past could affect the future. And I think that level of insecurity and still kind of putting himself out there, it's like I really get it on some level about that. I just get it. So it's not the most beautiful things that I've just described, but, you know, this is how I relate to him. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know.
And that's the relatability that you were alluding to.
Yeah.
Kecia, what about you feels similar to Miss Liza Jane?
I have always, except when I was like in my early years of learning acting, studying acting as a teenager, but I've always appreciated people who would take the time to pour into me. I've always been enamored with someone who will, not just because they do it for a living, because you can feel the difference when you're working with a teacher or a coach or a mentor, but someone who genuinely wants to give me what invests in me. And so I've tried to do that over the years myself. I've tried to always find somebody, somewhere that I can invest something into, some portion of myself. And this, so that's where I think I'm like Miss Liza Jane, which I love playing. And also I'm kind of doing it off stage because we have all these young kids in our cast. We have so many of them who are making their Broadway debuts. And I get the privilege of being able to pour into them. These kids listen to stuff I did when they were, learning acting, listen to Once on This Island, and, somebody always calls me Trix, somebody at the theater. They're like, oh, you're Trix. Like, yeah, okay. But being able to pour in like that on stage and off stage, I mean, it's really a privilege. It's really a privilege. And I love it. I love being able to do that every day.
Did you all feel a certain almost like a nurturing parenthood kind of place within your show from where you were in your roles?
Yeah, I mean, I it's just there's a lot of years difference, and you just kind of can't help but adore them as people who are just entering a sort of a prime of their taking risks and leaving. We had many people leave our show, and I'm always like, leave, you gotta go. This is you're 23. Go and do something else now. This is the way. So I love it. I wish my lower back didn't hurt. I.e., that I'm now in this role, and it kind of in a blink of an eye, because we were talking about even just 1984. I'm right there with you, and you blink and suddenly you're the
elder.
What happened to the playing?
You were the
uncle?
baby.
Like I'm now grandpa, right?
And now you're the elder.
But it's beautiful. I really enjoy it, and I think it's a great. It's great to set to at least attempt to set an example of how we conduct ourselves in a building where we respect everyone, and we respect everyone working in the theater, and that the workplace is a place of positivity and gratitude and respect and for everything,
Yeah.
And what are we wearing to the Tonys? I mean, just hard left. What are we wearing? Oh my God.
Kecia, what are you wearing?
I am.
How do you pick?
I have co-designed a dress with a wonderful lady. I'm doing a whole full circle season thing for myself. I met this lovely lady named Brenda Brunson Bay. She used to sew clothes and bags, purses, and go to the Broadway theaters and sell them. I met her in 1984. I bought a couple of pieces from her. She is still around. She is still sewing. So I asked her if she would create with me some type of African dress that represents Miss Liza Jane, represents Kecia, represents these 40 years, and we're working on it together.
Kecia, that is so special.
Her company is called Tribal Truths, and she's just a little lady in Brooklyn who's been sewing and traveling all over the world selling her stuff. So I'm going to rock Tribal Truths.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Roger? Who's doing your gown?
Well, I have several different designers.
Of course.
My uncle Saul is taking care of my shoes,
Better
which
call
I think
Saul.
is kind of beautiful. Yeah. I'll probably will wear a beautiful blue suit. I'm hoping it'll be beautiful. I'm going tomorrow, and I'm meeting with a gentleman named Clark at Bergdorf. And if anybody else wants to come, just
we'll meet at what time?
I should be there at 2:00. I'm meeting him in men's shoes
and I know
on the
it's
first
tricky.
floor.
Right.
Yeah,
I know it's tricky for you at Bergdorf's.
it is. I'm often trailed for the first 30 or 40 minutes until I buy the first thing because they think I'm going to steal something. It happens every single time, and I'm always like, it's just not that bad. They're AG.
Right.
Come on.
Eden.
I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Casual.
They generously dressed me for the Meet the Nominees press day, and so they were like, "We would love to dress you for the Tonys." I said, "I will accept."
That's
So nice.
fantastic.
So yeah.
Do you know what? When I called up the PR people and I said, this is probably ridiculous, but if you can find somebody who'd be interested in designing for me and everything, I'm 61 with a small belly, but and really don't stand a chance. But I still think it's a worthwhile investment, and I'm still haven't heard anything yet back. I'm not kidding. It's so funny.
Roger, you're not alone.
Yeah, I know. It's not.
We
it's
reached
not alone,
out
but it
to a
is
couple
so,
of people
right?
as well.
You just don't
to
hear.
Put feelers out,
Right.
and one person said, "Okay, we'll be back," and just give us a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then it was no.
You know, and it's just
That's crazy.
That is
it's
crazy.
tough out there. That's what I mean. You got to be
It's
really.
tough.
You got to manage your. Even when you've been nominated, there's still a
Yes.
few insults going to come
Sure.
hurled
yeah.
your way.
It's
you know,
true.
Yeah.
that are tough, and you
That's
just.
part of
That's why I
life.
just don't ask anymore anybody. I just go and buy a suit
Yeah.
I get that.
or rent.
Yes.
Rent it.
Yeah.
Rent.
Pay. How have you? Just two last questions for you guys. How have you managed to kind of maintain your sanity and focus as a human being through all this? Because this gauntlet you've been through between luncheons and press events like this, and performances, and there's just so much on your plate. How do you manage to stay present throughout all of it?
I am just now recovering from the emotional whiplash that was the week of the nominations, the press day, the same day I found out we were closing, and our last week and a half of shows. Yeah, I'm still now dealing with my nervous system is just now getting regulated. But I'm just feeling my feelings because I was telling Roger when we first got here, it's just all of the feelings. It's grief, it's gratitude, it's relief, it's exhilaration, it's disappointment. It's, so, and it's odd because people are like, so do you have anything, like what's next? And I'm like, you do understand I was contracted for a year for a show I've invested 11 years of my life. There's nothing next. I'm just going to cry, and but it is such a, I love that the season is just so abundant with beautiful works of art, with beautiful people that I've looked up to forever, that I've had a relationship with forever, and that is there's so much to celebrate. So I feel like I'm just now coming up to feeling like myself again. Yeah. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine what it is to do it, and I'm grateful that I don't have to. I'm grateful that
to do all
yes,
this and then
because
do the show at night.
I was already that week going. I'm cat on a branch hanging there, like literally barely hanging on. So I don't. It's too much, you guys. Like it's too much.
It has been too
and
much.
it's not enough money. We don't get paid enough for what this is, and I'm just saying it. It's too much.
It's
Yeah.
the 8 shows a
So,
week. That's just hard.
I'm sending all of
hard.
my energy and love
Yeah.
to everyone who has to run the
Yeah.
gauntlet, and I'm actually able to enjoy it a little bit more. So I'm grateful.
And I think I have I'm still recovering from. I was fortunate enough to win a Tony, and then 8 shows later close, and I received it in the mail. I was telling Eden before we walked in here. I received it, and I just had to rip open the box and just look at it and make sure they got my name right, rar. And then I had to run to a voiceover audition for the voice of Jared from Subway, his pants when he was a large person, which I'm still bitter about not getting. But
Roger
but
Bart.
that pendulum swing of the voice
That's
of Jared.
showbiz, kids.
That's showbiz.
Which, by the
kids.
way, I got to tell you, I can't believe I didn't get it. Anyway, so
That's clearly what the pants would sound
I
like.
mean, when you
That's
hired
what
me
I
right
think.
there,
That's
based on
exactly
that
what those
brief
pants
reading.
sound like.
on the spot.
So, like, it's just the 8 shows. It's hard. You don't want to miss as much, and the last thing you want to do is say it's a Wednesday matinee and say, I can't come in. Could you please just let the voters, both of them, know that they're not going to have to watch Back to the Future today? Can you just do that for me, please? Those are a couple painful
You should have
conversations.
used the Jared voice for that.
That would have done it.
Hey, I can't do the matinee.
Well, or just if you're feeling it, just do the matinee. Doc Brown will be the Roger.
Unfortunately,
the Jared
I'm in
Pants.
prison and can't make the matinee.
Oh God.
All right, that's a joke.
So
It's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot. Yesterday was my hardest day. Yesterday, I shot a video of that Act One closer song. So I sang it like 3 times.
Wow.
I had to be at the studio at 10 a.m. So I had to be warm.
Rude.
No.
Rude.
Tough.
No. Did that. And then went and did a matinee. And then did an evening show.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. It's just, I'm trying to enjoy it. And for the most part, I do.
Yeah.
But like Roger's already said, it's the shows. It's doing the shows while you're.
8 shows a week on its own is
Hey, bit of
massive,
advice
but-
though for all those other people though out there that are, plan a vacation.
Yeah.
That really helps the brain.
Sure.
Yeah.
Plan a vacation.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to wait.
It's really good,
Because I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
anticipate all
Little
this.
break.
So I was like, I'll wait. I'll get it
Yeah,
together.
yeah, no. Put in your
will.
name
Now
now.
you're like,
yeah.
My friends, I wish you all the most present, wonderful, joyous Tonys coming up in just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all remarkable, and I really appreciate your
This
time
was
because I
delightful.
know
Thank
in the
you.
middle of the gauntlet, this is another box you're checking, and I'm glad you checked it with us. And I'm a big fan of each and every one of you. And come back anytime. We'll be right here in the newsstand. Make sure if you are in New York City, get a ticket, go see Hell's Kitchen, catch the performance of a lifetime from Kecia Lewis, and get thee to the Winter Garden to see Roger Bart in Back to the Future. And the Lempicka original Broadway cast album is coming out when?
June 12th.
Okay.
Wednesday.
It's out
Yep.
to belong to the history
I'm so
books.
excited.
That's very, very cool.
Yes.
I'm so glad of it. All right, friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon. That was so cool to get to chat with these incredible artists who are on such a crazy, unique journey as Tony nominees. And who knows, by the time you get a chance to tune into this, maybe one of our panelists will have ended up with a Tony Award of their very own. Or if it's Roger Bart, another Tony. Why not? Very exciting stuff coming up. So enjoy the Tonys, my friends. And don't forget, we are back with season 4. We're going to be kicking off a great big new season later on in the fall. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Broadway Cast. Make sure you're following the Broadway Cast on social media to make sure that you don't miss out on all of the big Broadway fun that we have lined up for you. The biggest stars, the truest conversations. It gets real fast. So make sure you keep up with us. I'm your Broadway buddy, Ben Cameron, saying have a great show.